Day 2 of business communication. How are you all feeling? Why are you apprehensive when you're saying good? You're actually not feeling good about it, is it? Okay, we entered with non-verbal communication, right? So what are the different ways of non-verbal communication is what we learned, right? Now moving on, when we're looking at it, I told you now we'll be next what we'll be looking at is choice of means and modes of communication, right? So how do you choose, how to communicate? What is the pathway or channel you're using to communicate? All these things, right? So you have to assess a few things before choosing the right ways. I told you, there are a lot of things that you have to look at before actually choosing if it's going to be verbal communication, not verbal communication. If it is verbal, then what type of verbal? If it's non-verbal, then what type of non-verbal, right? You have to look at a lot of factors, and depending on those factors, you'll choose what kind of type of communication or what means and modes of communication you're choosing. So next topic, not topic, next point is choice of means and mode of communication. So the first thing that remember yesterday when we were doing different means and modes of communication only, we were talking about something, a few points. I mentioned that a company should take care of and look at these things before importance of communication. I was telling you these are the few things that you should look at, and the first point was something the company's the size, right? The size of that organization, how big an organization is, right? You have to understand if you're dealing with an organization. If it's a small organization, then you might not need maybe a fax, or you might not need to maybe send a courier or any things, letter or things like that. You might just have to maybe make a phone call or have a teleconference or have a face-to-face meeting, or maybe you'll just have to send an email or a message. Yeah, so there are, depending on the size of the organization, you're more probably, if it's small, it will be more of oral communication. If it is in bit more larger organizations, it will be probably written communication, right? And also most organizations will have a policy, right? They'll have a policy with respect to how, I told you there will be systems in place yesterday, right, with respect to communication. In especially when it comes to diagonal flow of communication, there needs to be a channel in place, there needs to be a system, there needs to be a process which the company has to follow, which the employees have to follow for communication. So similarly here also, choice of means and modes of communication depends on, first thing is organizational size and policy of the organization. What is the next thing that they might look at? The cost factor, right? Because you have to understand if the cost that you're bearing for this communication, is it worth it, right? Is this information that you're trying to communicate worth spending so much money, right? If I have to have a small talk with my colleague about something which is not of paramount importance, or something that is not very urgent, right, I would not go for something extreme, fast mean of communication. I'll probably wait until wait for a few days for it to be communicated, and it won't be an issue, right? At the same time, if something has to be communicated urgently, with has to something has to be implemented with immediate effect or something like that, then you will choose the means and modes of communication which is faster, which might be a bit more expensive, right? Also, if you're giving a, maybe some new policy has come in your company, right? You have to tell that to all your employees, you have to inform all your employees, and it has to happen immediately, right? In that scenario, what will you do? In that scenario, first thing that you'll do is you might have an audio visual communication. You will call them for a meeting, you'll show ppts, you'll present it, all those things, right? So that you understand it's really important, and it is extremely important that they get it, right? It is the, at the same time, it's something that is not of that big importance, you just have to inform them as such. You might just send a mail and be done with it, right? So there are different ways in which, depending on the cost factor, the amount of money that you're spending for the communication, or for a particular means or modes of communication, is it worth the information being communicated, right? You have to look at that. So second is cost factor. Next, any idea what is it? Okay, who you're sending it to. So maybe we can say, okay, so maybe we can say, you have to look at, who is the receiver, right? Where the receiver is situated, right? What is the time, distance involved, all these things, right? If the receiver is maybe, in another country, you will have to opt a different means and modes of communication, right? The receiver is right in your office, a different means and modes of communication, right? So depending on, the distance involved, depending on the receiver, right? Now, next is, any idea what is the next one? Next is something called as nature of the message. What kind of message is it, right? If it's a really confidential message, right? If it's very confidential, people should not get to know about it. Will you send a circular? No. What will you do? You will send a personal email, or you might have a face-to-face interaction with that person. Something that ensures the confidentiality is maintained, right? At the same time, if it's something, you know, you send a message, there's something that has to be immediately communicated, right? Will you send a letter? You will choose a means and modes of communication which is easy, more faster, which reaches the person soon, right? You might not even send the email, because the person might not check the email, right? You might send maybe a telephone or WhatsApp is, for a business setup, not very professional. So maybe they'll send a message, in the sense that they'll have these chats, right? They'll have intranets where they can have, you'd have all seen Outlook and Teams and everything, right? Similarly, so companies will have certain chat boxes where they can interact with each other. So something of that sort, right? So depending on the nature of the message, what happened now? Hanji. Depending on the nature of the message, you will also what you will choose. Thank you. You will choose what is the means and modes that you'll be choosing. Now, next is final thing that you'll be looking at is what? So in my house, for a very, very, very long time, we didn't have a printer, right? So throughout my so in my school, but most of my friends, they had a printer in their house, right? So throughout my childhood, I had this issue of, I would, whatever I'm doing, if I have to print it, I have to go out and get it printed. So, and I was very ashamed of saying this to my friends, that I don't have a printer in my house. So I used to be like, I used to say, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. They'll be like, we'll send our assignment and everything. You can take a print of it, put it in your chart, and you will come and everything. And I was a bit creative. So I used to like make charts and like design it and everything. So they used to send their content, and I should take a print out. So at first I used to make my dad when he's coming back from his office, I'd send the files to him. He would take from his office, he'll take a printout and come. Sometimes I used to forget to take it. So I used to run to the stationery shop to get it printed and everything, right? So then my dad, one day, he out of random, he asked me, why are people sending you? So if they have printers, let them do that part, right? You don't have to do it. You can also send them you can make something on your laptop and send it to them. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. So what is the idea here? What is one thing that is, we have to look at before choosing a means and modes of communication? Basically, if you have the resources to do it, right? Your company doesn't have a fax machine. Can you get a fax, or can you send a fax, right? It's futile. At the same time, a person is not there on Gmail. Can you send him an email, right? So you have to look at, if a person is not there on mail, he doesn't have a mail ID in that case, not Gmail. If he doesn't have a email ID, can you send him a mail? No. So the other person, receiver, should have those resources, and you should also have the resources that are needed for you to actually choose that means and modes of communication, right? So understood the five things that are you have to look at before, choosing a particular means and modes of communication, right? Now, mediums of digital communication is our next subtopic. Mediums of digital communications, all of you all are people who communicate using digital mediums on a very regular basis right now, right? All your messages, your, what do you say, calls, your video calls, everything, right? So tell me, what are the different types of digital communication that you have come across? Okay, instant messaging. Yeah. Okay, instant messaging is one. What is the other one? Okay. Okay, what is another one? Think about it. Calls, you can include it in something. The medium of digital communication. Your mobile phones, right? What is another one? Laptops. So laptops, your tablets, all these things you can include in one broad category. It's called PDA. Yeah, not public display of affection. PDA here is different. PDA here is personal digital assistants. Right? So all these, there are a lot of electronic devices that help you, to send mails, take calls, all these things, all these handheld computer devices, right? So all those things will come under your PDA, right? Now, next is any idea what is the next one? You all do it on a very regular basis. I am doing it currently. Rupavati. Okay, hi Rupavati, hi Vijayashree. Rupavati is new. Oh, for me, she is new because she was not there yesterday. Hi, Rupavati. Hi, hi, hi. I am Leah. So I have been taking business communication yesterday. So today, when I thought about video conferencing, I was like, oh, there are a few people over here. Okay, hi. I'll be taking business communication for you. I have been taking it yesterday. You missed out on yesterday's class, but I hope you'll be able to find a recorded class and you'll be able to catch up on it. So hi, Radhishri. Hi, are you there? I missed you. Not listening. Okay. Oh, she's there. Okay. So moving on. So guys, I was talking about digital mediums of digital marketing, right? So I was seeing, what are the other things. So we talked about instant messaging, we talked about emails, we talked about mobile phones, we talked about personal digital assistants. There are other things, right now, what am I doing with them? So video conferencing, right? So video conferencing is also another medium of digital communication. So earlier, when I was very formative years, third standard, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, and all. So my dad used to work in Nasik, and my mom used to work in Coimbatore, right? So I was back in Kerala because I was staying with my grandma. So eventually, I started staying with my mom, and they used to like meet once or twice a month. They used to like either one of them used to go to the other place, or the other person used to come. Eventually, after third, I think after when I started school, that is LKG and everything. That is when we all moved to Nasik, right? So those 1 month, 1 year, I don't think I've seen, like, because the video conferencing was not a very common thing right now. I don't think most of us didn't know what it was. We didn't have access to it, right? So the one way we could talk was through calls, or if that was not possible, the next way we could talk was either letters or emails. Emails did exist, right? If none of this worked, we used to meet each other. That is when you could actually see the person and speak to the person. So my mom and dad always, they used to tell us. So my sister and my brother-in-law, once they got married, before marriage also 1 year they were sort of dating after they got engaged and everything. So during that period of time, he was working in Mumbai and she was working in Kerala. So my sister used to, like, every second weekend, every second Saturday she used to get, banks have a holiday on second Saturday and fourth Saturday. So every second Saturday she used to, like, Friday she used to take a flight and go to Bombay, and she used to come, or he used to come here. So my parents were like, you guys are wasting so much money on tickets. Why are you doing that? And she was like, and this guy, he comes once or twice in 2 months, or once a month he comes to Kerala. So she was like, we don't get to spend time with each other. We don't meet each other and everything. So my parents were like, there were times when right now they have video conferencing and everything. They can call, video call and everything. So they can see the other person at least, right? So even now I remember when we think about it, when I was really small and I was not able to meet my parents, we didn't have a facility to see them, right? But still we used to depend on calls and letters and emails. I was small enough, I can't send an email, so it was mostly calls. But even they couldn't meet each other, so they have all stayed, and they've all they didn't have long distance issues as a lot of the new gen people have it currently. But still they had a very smooth way with it, even without seeing each other and all those things. So video conferencing, a very recent, adaptation to. I think before video conferencing, there was something called video conferencing in itself, but before it becoming so, WhatsApp and it becoming available on a lot of things, there was something called as Skype, right? What is Skype? Your classes on Skype. Ah, so what? Tell me, what are the features of Skype? You can add people, so call from chats. Yeah. So Skype was this one huge, I think when I was in maybe fourth, fifth, sixth, and all, Skype came in, and everyone was big on Skype. Everyone was big on Skype. So Skype is another medium of digital. Now I don't think a lot of people use Skype though, right? A lot more other things that came in. Now another way is, people, have you, any of you, do any of you have you moved to Nashik, ma'am? Yeah, I moved to Nashik when I was 3, 4 years old. For my LKG, UKG, I did it from Nashik. I did till Nashik, which area? I studied in Nashik Cambridge school, CBSE school. I don't know the area. It's which area? I too studied there. Really, you studied in Nashik Cambridge? Oh, I have a junior there. Oh, damn. I studied in Nashik Cambridge for a very long time, till 6th standard. So my sister studied until 12th standard. She was the first batch of 11th and 12th. So that's how old we are. So she was the first batch of 11th and 12th in that school. So her batch was the first batch to start 11th and 12th. I remember very few teachers from there. Someone called Yogita ma'am is someone I remember very dearly. Then there was a lovely miss was there. She taught me English. I remember her very well. Yogita ma'am was Hindi. Then I don't remember science teachers and maths teachers because not a huge fan, but still. Oh, nice to know. Great to know that you've studied there too. Oh, what a small world. Nice. So, she studied from fifth to eighth in Nashik, Cambridge, apparently. Okay, nice, 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 nice. So that is Skype, right? And then any one of you have blogs? Blog, not a vlog. BLOG. What is a blog? What? Yeah, technically that. It's a web blog, right? Blog is a web blog. Basically nothing but an online journal, right? So you have a diary, you make that public, and if you want other people to read it, and if you want it to be online, it is your blog. So not necessarily. What happened now? Yeah, I was that lame kid in school who had a blog and who used to like send everyone links to make sure they read. So I used to like, yeah, I used to like writing, and for some I had a lot of readers, in the sense that no, random people I don't know. They used to like. There was this. I think there was this on web. We could upload it, and then if we write on a everyday basis, there are other bloggers, fellow bloggers, who would read and comment on it. So every small thing that happens in school or in my life and all, I used to blog about it, and people comment on it. So Leah, what happened yesterday? If I don't write one day, they'll comment saying that we missed your blog for the day and all. I had some 17 readers, not more than that, but I felt like I used to like, one day I'm not writing my blog, I'll tell my mom, mommy, no, I have to write it. And later I was banned from writing blogs because I started writing about my family and all of it too much. And then one day my sister saw it, and I made fun of her, something about her, and my sister made a huge deal, and she was like, you can't do it, you can't put me on your blog. Some random people, 17 people used to read it, but I used to love doing it. I wonder where is it right now. But yeah, blogs are basically journals that you put online. You can specify how many people can read it. So you can restrict it, just like you Google Docs something. Google Docs, you can restrict how many people can see it, right? Similarly here also, but here it's more public. Google Docs, public, random people don't have access to it. Here random people can have access to it if they have that website, right? So blogs were a huge it thing in my school. What I Yeah, similar. Oh, you all know that. That's first time someone from a batch I'm teaching and talking about them. Okay, now moving on. Something called forums and news groups. Anyone know what they are? Any idea? Hey, not forum mall. Not forum mall. It's basically nothing but anyone during this Corona time, no, there was something where people everyone would come to, it's an online forum, so random people can join, and they can, there was something called, what was it, classroom. It was not classroom, it's something, it was very, during Corona it became a huge thing.
Can speak.
You can
Video.
Yeah, no video, people can speak. Random people from out nowhere, there'll be a conversation about a particular thing, and take your phone and check. It was something, I even last class I forgot about it. It's something called uh, some yeah. So so there will be different threads of conversations. There's some just check in your phone. What is it? It's 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 something I can't I can't everyone is like, oh my god, what was it? It is something very, everyone on earth was on it.
What did you all do?
We used to it was a forum, so people can get on it and speak about random things, and people talked about randomest of things. My god, I'm driving them crazy. Everyone is sitting with their heads on their hands saying, what is it?
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse, yeah. Yes. Finally. So so Clubhouse was a big thing. So everyone on earth was on it. And people are jobless during Corona, no? So everyone from evening and all, random people. We would have some mutual friends, but then we would see random people from somewhere. They'll be talking about some random things, right? That's a forum, right? basically when some people have access to, you know, a group of people can have access to something and they come together and they can discuss about it online, right? And news groups are also maybe, you know, so have you all know Reddit, right? What is Reddit? Reddit. Reddit. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So basically anything, any nowadays, if I Google anything, you know, if I say, why is my laptop not working? If I Google that, there'll be a Reddit thread on it, right? Right, yeah, there'll be a Reddit thread on it. You know, people will be explaining why their laptops are not working, and then someone would be explaining something which has no relation to it whatsoever, and then it will become a debate. So fun to read it, but yeah. So all these are forums and news groups. Okay, so where, you know, people have, you know, they'll be talking about one particular topic and there'll be related messages to it, right? So those threads, all these things will come under forums and news groups. So these are all ways of digital communication. Understood? Got it? Have a brief idea about it? Have a good idea about it? Okay, now moving on. uh, Communication networks. What are communication networks? I told you yesterday, communication flow is there, and then there is communication network. Both will look similar but has no relation to anything as whatsoever. So learn it separately. None of you should come after the exam and say, ma'am, they asked communication network. I wrote the flow by mistake. Yeah. So they'll give you, you know, what is the, you know, communication network for. So when a superior talks to a junior subordinate, what is it? And they'll give you communication, they'll give you vertical, they'll give you a downward flow, they'll give you horizontal. So what is it? Yeah, I've asked flow, right? But vertical is also same thing, so people will select vertical. Do you understand? I'll tell you what vertical is right now. So now communication network, right? So what are communication networks? So there'll be different members in an organization, right? So how does, you know, the I told you there'll be different channels of communication. Now there are patterns that can be formed when it comes to communication between different people in an organization, right? So the different patterns that you can see, right, during communication. Pathetic, absolutely pathetic, Lynette. She was searching for a pen, no? Do you know where it was? In her hair. She removed it from hair right now. Now, and how will I complete the portion if you, you know, sit there and do things like this? Now, the communication network is basically these patterns that you see between certain, you know, partakers in an organization. So there will be people with different, who have different job roles in an organization, but there will be different patterns formed, right, when they communicate. This, you know, process of communication that happens between these people, there will be patterns, right? First pattern like that is known as, these patterns are what we call networks, right? First network. So there are 5 networks. First is vertical network. So vertical network. Any idea what is vertical network? So basically nothing but when there is a superior and there is a subordinate, right? The conversation. So when a superior and a subordinate is having a speech amongst themselves, what is this? It's a formal network. First of all, it's a formal network. Next thing is, so here the superior will say something to the subordinate will give a reply back to the superior. Immediate feedback, right? So also what here the major idea is it's a two-way communication, right? It's not just one way, right? Superior can, I can speak to someone who's junior to me, and that person can come back to me and speak as well. There is no one else involved in this communication network. It's just one superior and one subordinate, and it's the conversation happening between them. When communication happens in this pattern in the organization, that is called what? The vertical network, right? So it's a two-way communication. Next is something, next I'll draw, you tell me what does it look like. Okay, what does this pattern look like? Okay. Close. All 10th standard physics, remember? Now you'll tell it was omitted from your syllabus. 10th standard physics, you had an different connections, circuits, right? It's called a circuit network. So here it's nothing but there are two people. One person gives a message, the other person receives it, and the other person gives a feedback, right? Here also it's basically two people are communicating with each other, right? There is immediate feedback here, right? And here, you'll ask me, ma'am, here also one person is speaking, the other person is also able to speak. It's a formal network, there is immediate feedback, it's a two-way communication, right? So you'll ask me, ma'am, how is it different from vertical network? Any idea? Oh, it's a two-way immediate feedback. One person is telling someone else, the other person is replying back, right? It's immediate feedback. So here in vertical network, it's clearly mentioned, it's between a superior and a subordinate. Here it can be anyone, right? Anyone, communication happening between any person in the organization, where one person is sending a message, the other person is receiving and sending a feedback. It happens to be what? A circuit network, right? Not necessarily it is happening between the superior and the subordinate. Got it? Now, next is something I'll draw again. Not necessarily peers, anyone when it's anyone in that organization. What does it look like? It's a chain network, sorry. The chain network. So the idea is there's a proper chain of command and proper organizational hierarchy. So this kind of communication, it follows an organizational. Yes, Rupavati, it's chain. Right? So here they're following a chain of command and also an organizational hierarchy. So what you have to understand is, here in both these things, there was an option of what? Speaking back, giving feedback, right? Here that is not possible, right? Here there is only commands being received. Here people are giving commands, right? One person is giving command to the other person is giving command to the other person is giving command to the other person. There is no feedback here. So no feedback. That is one, this thing. It follows a chain of command. No feedback. So what kind of a communication flow is this following? Downward flow of communication, right? There is no going upwards. Understood? Now, next, fourth type is, I'll draw again. What is it? Any idea? Online people, any idea what this is? I might not be a great, it's centralized, that is there, but what pattern does it look like? It's a wheel network. Yes, Vidyashri, it's a wheel network. Right? So nothing but here you can see that there is one person in the between, in the middle, who is giving out directions, right? So there is one person in command, and then there are multiple subordinates, right? So here it's a centralized type of network, communication network. So it's centralized. But at the same time, there is option for feedback. There is immediate feedback over here. Everyone can give a feedback. Also, there is one person. There is no chain of command as such. There is one single person in command. Everyone has to respond to that person, right? So, understood what a wheel network is, right? Now, your final network. I'll try to draw it. You guys have to figure it out. Might be hard looking at my drawing, but try it. Okay. I find it so hard to draw this all the time. And then often but not, everyone would come to me and be like, ma'am, but it doesn't look like it. I'll be embarrassed. It's a star. Da. Yes, with history. It's a star. Let's end it at that. It's not a hexagon. Don't tell me it's a hexagon. It's basically nothing but a star network. So ensure there is a connection to everything. Everything is interconnected, right? So what is a star network? All the members of the group can communicate to everyone. There is immediate feedback. There is no one in authority as such. It's all about teamwork. and everyone has the authority to communicate to everyone without any hesitation, right? There are no rules, particular rules that okay, this person can't speak to this person can speak to this person can only give orders, this person have to receive orders, this person can't speak to the go back and speak to his superior, nothing as such. Everyone, no rules and regulations, it's a very happy family, everyone talks to everyone, everyone can works. What up? I said
There's a
okay, lasagna is fair. Okay, understood. Yes, basically that, right? I was like, what is she saying? Okay, all right. Now, effectiveness of the above network channels depend upon their users, right? Now, I've taught you about all the 5 types of networks, right? No matter which network you say that you're following, it depends on how effectively you're following it, right? Some people might say, oh, we have a very, we follow star network of communication. Here everyone has the right to talk to everyone, there is no regulations, there are no, but at times there will be, there might be a manager who's extremely bossy, who will be like, hey, you can't talk back to me, you don't have to tell me your ideas, I'll tell you what has to be done, you just have to do that, right? So it depends on who's actually executing these things to actually see if these are actually working as they should be working, right? So also that is why there are companies which have like human resource organization, human resource departments, because then they can actually, the human resource department can actually vouch for the employees in order to see if these things are being satisfied in a very good manner, right? Now next we are going to learn something called as, we have almost coming into an end of this chapter, concept of business communication. Next is a final topic called as barriers to communication, right? What are the things that can come as a hindrance, or that can come as a stoppage to communication? What can come as a okay, we'll come to it. Come now. What happened? Tell me. Right? Barriers to communication. So there are certain barriers, or there are certain blockages that can come in between communication, that can cause what happened, that can why you're smiling? Okay, don't you feel left out? So now okay, we are a team now. That can cause failure in communication, right? Now communication failures in an organization especially can have serious after effects, right? If there is one small failure in communication, that means there will be something going wrong somewhere, right? So now so we have to understand what are the reasons that can cause these communication failures, and how can we overcome these, right? Now first failure that can happen can be because of one small thing. Language is one of it, but we'll be getting to it. But one another thing is something known as lack of planning, right? So every message, especially when you're talking about in a business setup, every message that has to be communicated, will have a purpose, right? There will be goal. We talked about features of communication, we said it will be goal oriented, right? So there will be a goal in place, right? So to achieve this goal is our purpose, to communicate. Now one has to know how can one frame this message. One has to think about it, make a strategy also, especially when it comes to communication in a business setup. There will be set policies, there will be set systems in place, right? So how can one mold their message to fit into the system, to fit according to the policy, and then send it so that there are no repercussions of the same, right? So after you look at all those things, so you have to give a fair amount of thought, right? Rather than, unlike the conversations we have on our dinner table with our family where we don't use our brain, we just talk about our days and everything. Here, that is what I do. I reach my house, I switch off my brain because it needs some rest. And then it's all, we'll talk about random things, right? So, unlike that, if we are sitting in a meeting, each point that you're going to say will be taken seriously by the other person, right? Also, if you're saying something that doesn't make sense, that will also have a repercussion, right? So there should be a proper planning, not only with respect to what you're going to say, but how you're going to say it as well. How are you planning to communicate it, right? What is the means and mode that you're going to choose, right? What are the words that you'll be choosing? Or, how will you be sending it? Which word will you be sending it? Who will be the listener, right? You have to take all these things into consideration and then draft your message, right? So lack of planning can cause a lot of repercussions, right? So to avoid those, you have to plan and always understand that what is the required desired result that you want out of this communication. According to that, you have to draft your message, right? Now, next is something very, what I mentioned, noise. No, when I was talking about process of communication, I said noise is there. So you say, we talked about, what is noise. We said, there is physical noise, there is something else also. In that I mentioned a few points, I mentioned this also. It's nothing but false assumptions, right? So when it comes to barriers in communication, one huge thing can be false assumption. I am having a communication with you. I have an assumption that, oh, these people know everything. I don't have to teach them a lot and all. I don't have to explain things. You might know, you might not know, right? I am assuming that, you all know everything. So I don't have to, explain everything. You'll just, you'll have your notes, you'll go through it. If I have that assumption, is this going to be a productive study session? No, I won't be able to teach you everything that you require, right? Because I am assuming you all know things, right? So false assumption can cause a lot of situations where you don't provide, this. First of all, the receiver will, feel like, this person is not giving me ample information. Also, the receiver will be very confused. What is happening, right? Because receiver will be expecting a certain communication. When he's not getting that, or when he's not getting that in full detail, he'll be like, what is wrong? Why is this guy doing this? The speaker will also be, under the impression that, okay, this need not be communicated, or this has to be communicated. You're not well? Okay. Right. Okay. Now, all these things, right? So you have to always ensure that there are no false assumptions or false, predicaments with respect to anything as such, right? Now, next is ambiguity. What is ambiguity? Being ambiguous. Being vague. Ambiguity means being vague, not being clear about something, right? When you're, this happens a lot when you're trying to keep something private, or when you don't want to, fully reveal something. So you try to beat around the bush and not give the full information, or try to be very vague with your answers, right? So it's very clear when, when we ask questions after a particular chapter. I have a question answer session happening, right? When we ask questions, if you don't know, they'll try to beat around the bush and talk about things that they know and somehow bend it towards the question that I'm asking. So that is ambiguity, right? Ambiguity means you don't want to communicate the whole thing. Also, ambiguity results in the other person being held confused, right? So that is again a barrier to effective communication. Now, another thing is called distortions. What are distortions? We learned what distortions are. So there are many distortions that can happen in communication, right? So one distortion can be because the sender is not sending a proper message. Another distortion can be maybe because the receiver is very preoccupied and busy and he is not listening, right? Distortion means there is a small breakage of message, in the sense that what has been communicated is not taken the same way, right? So a bit faulty or wrong message has gone to the person. Might not be because someone has intentionally done it, but maybe because different several reasons, a distorted message would have gone to the receiver, right? I would be trying to communicate something to Vishal, but Vishal, your name is Vishal only, Noda? Yeah. So Vishal might think, take it in another way, not because I've communicated the wrong thing. Maybe because when I was saying, I was very preoccupied, I didn't put in a lot of thoughts to it. Maybe because Vishal was thinking about what is going to be for dinner in the PG and he was not thinking about it, right? So either of these things, right? That is distortion. Distortion is small, small mistakes that a receiver will perceive the message to be, right? Now, next, passing judgments. Passing judgments is what? So passing judgments is nothing but, when you are what did you say? The magic trick one, right? So when especially when you're trying to send a message, and that message has some kind of a judgment or some kind of a tone of not being very appreciative or being a bit critical of the other person, that message won't be taken in the right manner from that person, right? So when you are especially you would have seen maybe a lot of fights that so a few days ago, me and last Sunday evening, me and my friend, it was raining, right? So we couldn't go out or anything. So we made food and we were sitting at home, we were watching movies and all. So my friend was telling me, so I was talking about something, so I can't keep shut for a long time. So even after watching movies, I was getting bored. So I started like talking about some random topic. I knew this person will debate with me on it. So I just wanted to have a conversation. I started talking about it, and he didn't disappoint me. He also started debating on it, and both of us, we started debating on it a bit too much. And after a point, I knew I was losing the debate, okay? But I didn't want to lose. So I kept, talking about very unreasonable things and like pulling it up. And then after a point, he just went shut. I was like, what happened? Why are you not coming back? And he was like, no, no, no. There is no use of, talking, debating with you, because no matter what, no matter what, if you feel like even if you're losing, you will come up with the most unreasonable thing, and you will keep on building that debate for no reason, for no particular reason at all. So it's very futile and a waste of time to debate with you on certain topics. And I was extremely hurt when I heard that. I was like, how can you be so right? That was exactly, yeah. I was like, that's exactly what I do, and I know that very well. But I didn't like it that this person got to know it and he said it on my face. So I got very pissed off. I was like, I didn't express it. I was obviously being passive aggressive about it. I was like, okay, cool. Okay, let's not talk about it. And then I was like, let's get back to the movie, and we started watching the movie again. This person understood I was pissed off. And he was like, are you pissed off? I said that. I was like, no, why should I be pissed off that you said that? And this person was like, no, 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 you're pissed off. This is you were debating about it. And since, I wanted to point it out to you. I was like, yeah, that's totally cool. Yeah, fine. And then I was supposed to make dinner, right? I didn't make dinner. I was like, and then by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, this person is getting hungry. Comes and he's like, are you not cooking dinner? I'm like, no, I'm not cooking dinner. And this person is like, are you still stuck on that, criticism I gave you? And I was like, of course I'm stuck on that criticism you gave me. Do you think if I say the same to you, you'll be okay with it? And he said, you've said these things multiple times to me and I've taken it, in the right sense. I was like, okay, cool. But then, yeah, so once I had a proper conversation, we had a proper 1 hour conversation where we were debating about something, right? The minute he gave me a judgment or a critical, a sentence that was passed my way, I didn't listen. I didn't want to partake in that conversation anymore. Why? Yeah, it hurt me, right? It might make sense, but it hurt me, right? So all these communications, when it comes to when it comes to when someone is passing a judgment or when someone is being critical of something, then that means um, that means you are being, you're being judged, right? So it takes away from you being productive in that conversation, and it becomes more personal to you, right? And then that becomes a whole different conversation, right? So in communication, you can always give constructive criticism, but always ensure that you're not passing a judgment, right? You can put it in a very nice way, so that that person is not, completely like, oh, how can this person say that, right? And you can put it in a nice way, but he said it very nicely. I was like, how can you say that, how can you say the truth? That was what I was pissed off about. So passing judgments, got it, how it can be a barrier to communication. Now, that doesn't mean you can't point out the truth. If you really feel like you need to be critical about something, especially with your friends, they might do very stupid things, and if you want to be critical, do be critical. Now, next is implied meanings. What are implied meanings? Yeah. So implied meanings is basically nothing but when you're not being very straightforward with what you want to say. You say something, and it can be taken in a different sense also, right? So you when yeah, sarcasm is also implied meaning, a bit of maybe, okay, you want to change the if I'm talking about something to someone, and it's a bit uncomfortable topic for me, I want to change it. I'll randomly I won't say, okay, I want to change this topic. I might just say, oh, how's the weather outside? It looks like it's going to rain. No, I might just move out. Right now, it doesn't mean that I'm asking him what is the weather. It looks cloudy outside. I'm not saying that. I just want to change. I just want to change of topic, right? So that is implied. So if I say that most people will get the hint, and they'll be like, oh, this person doesn't want to talk about it, right? And they'll move on. So those are implied meanings. But not all the time that everyone will have the, everyone will be very conscious and involved in the conversation, that they'll feel like, oh, this person is, implying this. So people will say one thing, but they'll want to imply a different thing, right? This happens a lot, and it gets misconstrued a lot also. People will take it for a different thing, and they'll be like, why is this person behaving so weirdly, right? So implied meanings are also one, very big aspect where there can be a lot of communication failures, right? Especially on a very in a very, colloquial sense. We have this, especially I feel like, this era of people, anyone who was born post 1995, they have this thing of, not actually confronting things and being passive aggressive about it, because I've seen this a lot, in, my peers, or people younger than me, especially people older than me. Yeah, people older than me, I have not seen it. If I have a fight with someone older than me, they'll come and they'll confront it, and they'll get done with it, right? Except for my mom. But everyone else, I feel like they're like that. But when it comes to younger people, I've seen people being best friends and roommates with people whom they hate with a, big, they hate them, but they'll say that, she's my best friend, but both of them would be, talking behind each other's back and everything. Like, why can't you say that to each other and just be separated from each other? Why you with each other and, talking bad? Yeah, what? They know too many things, no? But that is what is called implied meaning. Not actually, you might want to convey something, you're not conveying, you're saying something, but you want this to be conveyed, right? Also, similarly, something very similar is lack of trust, right? You're having a conversation with someone, you're communicating with someone, you don't trust that person at all, right? Will you be communicating the whole thing, right? I am saying something to you, right? You're communicating something, the person doesn't trust you. Will they be taking what you're saying in the, wholeheartedly? No, they will be very, they'll be in double minds about, what is she saying? Is she saying the truth? Is it actually? They'll have to do a fact check later on, right? So that is also another barrier for communication. What is it? Lack of trust. Next is something called as problem of semantic distortion. Any idea what that is? You're close. Mm. So basically, everyone have their own way of, speech and their own way of selection of words and everything, right? So when it comes to, my language, the words that I choose to communicate something might not be appropriate to you, right? Or might not be something that you are comfortable with, or you might not take those words in the same reference that I used it, right? So that is called a semantic distortion, where messages that are communicated through, communicated through words, it can be distorted intentionally, in the sense that people, when they take it, they might take it in a different sense, right? So that happens a lot, I think, especially when it comes to, I've seen this a lot in media, right? Some person will talk about something, and another person, it might not have any connection to that person, right? But another person will come and comment on it, thinking this person has commented on him, right? So this happens a lot. Any idea what the election polls are doing today? One now. They're leading.
No, 290
290 something. They won't reach 400 is what people are saying now. No, they are leading.
They are leading in 90 something. Yeah. 2 to 5 something.
They might go up to 2.5, maybe not beyond. We don't know. But let's see. But the idea is the idea is people need, it should be an equal majority probably. So if they have something, almost, they have a bit more seats, then basically people have to consult each other to take major decisions. Everything, it won't be a, one-sided democracy. Whoever wins, there should be equal say for everyone. That is the idea. So let's see. Yeah, so today, if you open the TV, you'll be able to see 20 people arguing about 20 things, everyone being extremely dumb about it as well, right? So even the hosts are being extremely spoken nowadays. So these are, semantic distortion can happen in these scenarios a lot, right? Where people, first of all, people might not be also in a position to be very empathetic to the other person, to want to, understand what that person would have actually meant. That idea would not be there, right? Especially when it comes to semantic distortion, this person will want to, from a very me perspective, they'll be reading it, right? Or they'll be hearing it, and when they hear it, they will take it in a totally different sense, what suits them, right? According to what suits them, they'll be taking the words and the meanings to be as such, right? That is where there can be a semantic distortion. Understood? Got the barriers to listening, barriers to communication. Now next we are going to learn, final thing, what is the ways to overcome these barriers of communication. What are the ways to overcome this? Just a minute. Sorry. Okay, now moving on. It's recording. Yeah. Now, so ways to overcome these barriers to listening, right? Barriers to come. We're going to do listening, so it's listening is what is. So I was preparing listening, no, before coming to class. So I'm keeping on saying listening. So listening is a very interesting chapter, small chapter also. So it will be fun. So in my for earlier days when I used to get more hours, right now it's all packed, no, so I can't do. So we used to do Chinese whispers and all as an activity, so that we used to see how it happens. But it's only three of you, only three of you. By the time I whisper over here, you'll understand. So, first thing is, also this is not only in a business communication, even when it comes to, your personal lives, ensure these things are done. One is clarify ideas before communication. First point is clarify your ideas before your communication. So before you go and speak about something, ensure it is fact checked, ensure you're clarifying it, ensure you yourself know what you're speaking about, right? You shouldn't, this is something that my friend told me day before yesterday. Even if you're talking about something, just because of the fact that you don't want that conversation to end with the result being that the other person has won it, you'll talk about most unreasonable things and you'll keep talking, right? It might not even make sense at some point of time. So that is a very wrong way to have a communication, right? Where you yourself are not sure about something, you just say for the sake of saying it, right? So always clarify your, ideas, ensure that you know what is the goal, that what are the ways that you can communicate this thing, how can you arrange the content, how can you draft it in order to reach that goal, right? That has to be always kept in mind before communicating, right? Clarify your ideas before next is communicate according to the need of the receiver. When you're communicating, always keep in mind it's a two-way process. It's not a one person's game, right? There are two people involved in this communication, and you are not saying this because you want to get it out. You're saying this because that person has to understand what you're saying. Your purpose should always be a you approach, right? Not a me approach, right? If I am taking a class just for a self satisfaction that okay, I've said everything, I've gone, right? This won't work. This dynamic won't work, right? If I am coming to this class, my idea should be that each one of you should be able to understand what I'm saying, right? So I should be able to I should be able to draft whatever I'm saying in a way that you understand, right? I should be able to put in messages, put in examples, put in figures, put in aids, whatever aids that I have to do in a way that it suits your understanding, right? In a way that helps you understand stuff. Even if I make a fool out of myself with examples, it's fine, right? If you can remember it by that, it's a success for me, right? It's a job well done for me, right? So always the second point is you have to communicate according to the need of the receiver and not your style or your you know yeah, not your approach. It shouldn't be all about you, it should be about the other person that you're communicating to, right? That's your point number 2. Point number 3 is consult others before communication. Consult others before communication. So half the time, no. So as I said, I stay with my best friend for 7 years, right? So in a way that she's like a sibling to me, right? Because I have been living with her 24/7 for 7 years. We were, and we studied together for a fair amount of time. Then we started working. That went away, but still, I go back home. She'll be there. She reaches before I do. I reach around 10 o'clock. She'll reach around 7 o'clock. She'll be there. She'll be sitting at home. She'll be on her phone. I'll tell her whatever happened. She knows everyone and anyone who's associated with my life, be it my work, she knows about all three of you now. Because yesterday I went and I told her about whatever happened in class, right? So I go home and today I'll go and I'll be like, you know what Lynette did? She was searching for a pen, then she pulled out her pen from her hair. If I say this, she'll understand, right? So every time I have to make a decision, or I have to, speak to someone about something, or I have something, some major thing that is happening on my life, she'll be aware of it, right? And I know for a fact that if I'm doing the wrong thing, she'll be there to comment on it, right? And that is why I'll keep her aware, right? Why am I doing this? I'll do this because I know for a fact that if it's just me making a decision, I might go wrong, right? So if there is someone else, okay, if there are other two more people who are helping me with this decision, it won't be like all three of us, will take the same wrong decision. At least there'll be one person who will have a better, who will have a maybe an idea, or who will feel like this is not right, right? So the more people that are involved, the more also that can be there, they can give you 20 different opinions, and you'll be confused also. But the idea is, the more people who are involved, they'll give you better suggestions and you can better your communication, right? So consult others before communication is basically don't consult stupid people who will give you stupid opinion or don't consult people whom you know will support your dumb decisions. Consult people who will give you productive criticism, who will give you proactive reasonings, right? Who will give you constructive ideas, right? Things that so if you are, if you know that you're going to you're doing something, with respect to you want advice on a medical something, you won't go and ask your junior in college. You'll go and ask a doctor or someone who's in that field, in a field of medicine, right, for help. So you go and someone who's good at it, or someone who's educated, or someone who's experienced in it, you go consult that person before communicating, so that there is a proper credibility to whatever you're saying, right? So that is your point number 3. Point number 4 is be aware of language, tone, and content of the message. Be aware of language, tone, and content of the message. So here we are talking about nothing but whenever you are speaking, as I mentioned yesterday, consideration and courtesy are very important, right? So when you're speaking, it is very important that you should be very well, in hold of what are the languages that you're using, right? Language not in the sense that only the, language linguistic aspect of it. When you're saying, there are certain slangs and everything which can be very offensive to certain people, very hurtful to certain people. There are certain people, so I don't get upset when people shout at me, right? But when people don't shout, but I know that they're upset, that just gets me, right? So my dad had this habit of, he never shouts, or he never, like, raises his voice or anything, but he doesn't talk. If he's upset, he'll just go, he won't speak a lot. He'll just be very quiet, and that would just, freak me out. I would just be very upset over it. And so there are certain, be it, a gesture, or be it a tone, or be it something that is there in your message, right? If you feel like all these things are hurtful, or all these things are not right, or if all these things are, simply, very rude, right? Or it's not correct, right? Any of these things, you should be very, very aware of what is coming out of your mouth and what you're writing, and you should keep it in hold, right? So ensure that is also one huge thing that you take care of, because that can be a barrier to your communication, right? Next is, don't blabber random things to random people, right? Your point number 5 is nothing but convey things of help and value to the listener. Convey things of help and value to the listener. Why do I say convey things of help and value to the listener? As I said yesterday, if I sit here and I make a first standard kid sit here and I explain him principles of business communication, he'll be like, what is this woman speaking, right? It's of no help to him. First of all, he can't understand it, right? So always ensure that whomever you're communicating it to, it should be this happens a lot in emails, right? When you send an email, especially in a business setup, you will be so used to keeping 20 people in your CC, right? You're sending an email, maybe only 5 to 6 people it will only be relevant to those 5 to 6 people. You'll just keep everyone in CC so that everyone is just aware of it, right? Unless and until, so then randomly, if you're sending all these mails to everyone, these people who are receiving it, if you're sending a mail that is, specifically important to them, they might just take it as a spam, right? They might not give it that importance, right? So it's always important that, you only, convey things that are of value and help and relevance to the listener, right? Next is ensure proper feedback. Ensure proper feedback means keep in mind, communication is not complete if there is no feedback, right? So unless and until you're getting a reply or a feedback from the person that you've communicated something to, your communication is still incomplete. You can't say that I've communicated something if you're not getting a feedback, right? I have this habit of, I'll say whatever I want. I won't listen, I won't. This is not me in class, but me in real life, I might communicate something. I might not wait for someone to give a feedback. I'll assume they've, understood it. I'll just move on with my life, right? Later on, few months later, I'll get to know that, oh, that thing that I said, it's not gone through properly, right? So always understand that your communication, that cycle, keep in your mind. You have only reached this much. You have not come a full cycle unless and until you're getting that feedback, right? Always ensure you get enough feedback, right? Now, next is consistency of message. What is with this consistency of message? You as a person should be consistent with what you're saying, right? One day you say something, next day you go around and say something that contradicts what you've said the previous day. No one is going to take you for take you for real, and people are not going to take your whatever you have said to be credible, right? Only if you maintain a consistency in what you're saying, only you maintain a consistency in how you're saying things, right? You send, someone is sending a mail, you reply first day, you reply back to it, in a few minutes time. So this happens a lot in relationships, right? In the beginning of a relationship, you message, instant reply back and everything. Slowly, 1 year, 2 year into the relationship, you send a message and all, you might have to wait for a whole day, evening and all, someone will text you, oh, I was working, sorry, how are you? They'll say that, right? So inconsistency in message means what? You're not being valued, you're not being respected, right? Or your message is not important enough, or you're not being given that importance, or you're not getting a sufficient feedback, right? Which is also not a nice thing to you. So always maintain a consistency in your message, not only in with respect to time, also with respect to content, right? Whatever you're saying should be consistent throughout, right? Now, next is follow up communication. Point number 8, follow up communication. What is follow up communication? I am saying something, we have finished the communication. I should come back to you and ensure that everything is okay afterwards also. When it comes to a business setup, okay, your manager has given you a work to do, right? You said you'll get it done, right? This manager, his work is not done over there. He has to come follow up with you constantly, ensure that there is no distortion of messages, ensure you're not finding any trouble in actually executing what has been said, ensuring that no other assistance needs to be there, right? And if at all this communication has totally gone wrong, only then this person will be able to understand, right? So total constant follow-ups is very much required when it comes to communication, right? Now, next is nothing but be a good listener. That is your final 9th point when it comes to how to overcome barriers to communication. It means being a good listener. If you are a sender, you also need to be a listener, right? Because you send a message, you will receive a reply. You have to understand that reply and send back a message, right? According to what is the need of the listener, right? Only if you're able to be in both shoes and understand both things, and you only keep speaking, you don't listen, there is no communication happening, right? You need to be a good listener in order to be a good communication, right? Got it? Understood the 9 points? We are done with chapter 1, right? Chapter 1, concept of business communication, is over. We are going to do questions. So I'll go one by one. People have to answer. Or do you want raise of hands? First person who raises their hand will get. What do you want to do? Okay, raising will do. But the idea is, now if any one of them are online, people are putting up the answer, I will immediately say they have put the answer, right? We have a small game happening here, right? So Lynette, Ashwin, Vishal, Vidya, and Rupa, right? Now, the person with the most number of points at the end of our business communication studies at the end of this week will be getting a prize from me. So throughout, after each chapter, I'll be asking questions. Yeah. This is for throughout till the end, right? Now, question number 1. The communication within the organization is known as dash. Ma'am, Vidyashree said ma'am. Yes, Vidyashree. Internal. Guys, you have a humongous, drawback because these people will immediately put internal communication is right. I'll give you 5 points for each answer. Now, when words are used in communication, either spoken or written, this kind of communication is known as verbal communication, right?
Ma'am, you should be.
Okay. Verbal. Yes, Rupavati. Yes, Vidyashree. It's verbal communication. Now, non-verbal communication does not include, I'll give you options. Option number 1, body language. Option number 2, sign language. Option number 3, paralanguage. Option number 4, oral communication.
Should be.
Oral, yes, Vidyashree, yes, Rupavati, oral. I feel like they've answered before you. They've typed it also. So I think I should give them points. I will give them 2 points because they have typed it and answered also. No, everyone has points. It looks nice. Next, equality. The channel of communication which is mostly associated with gossip and rumors is called.
Grapevine.
It's called. Wait. Everyone has said grapevine. It's grapevine.
Yes. Bookmark.
Okay, I have to finish the question. Then you put up your hands, and then I'll tell who put up the hands first, and you can say the answer. Okay. Yes, Rupavati, yes, Vidyashree, it's grapevine. Who gets the point now?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Next is, it's grapevine, guys. Next is, dash to communication may occur if the transmitter and the receiver assign different meanings to the same word or use different words for the same meaning. Dash to communication may occur if the transmitter and the receiver assign different meanings to the same word or or use different words for the same meaning. We learned it today. Option number 1, socio-psychological barriers. Option number 2, physical barriers. Option number 3, semantic barriers. Option number 4, none of the above. He raised his hands first. Oh, they just give up. they didn't answer at all. Online people. So guys, if I'm looking to this side, it means I'm looking at you guys, online people. And if I'm looking there, yeah, but I see semantic barrier. Yes, Rupavati. It's yes, Vidyashree, it's semantic barrier. The camera is here, no? But if I'm seeing here is when I can see what they're typing. Yeah. So that's it. Our chapter 4 is done.